The airplane hummed softly as it cut through the clouds, a long silver body suspended between earth and sky. For most passengers, this flight was just another routine journey, headphones on, eyes closed, minds drifting. But for Marcus Elijah Brown, this flight would become something he would remember for the rest of his life. Marcus sat quietly in seat 18A, near the window. Outside, sunlight poured over endless white clouds, glowing like a promise of peace. Inside, Marcus tried to hold on to that same calm. He was a black man in his early 40s, tall, well-groomed, wearing a simple blazer over a neatly pressed shirt. His hands rested gently on a book he had read many times before, not because it was new, but because it grounded him. His mother had once said, "When the world feels loud, keep something quiet with you." Marcus had learned early in life how to stay quiet. Not because he was weak, but because the world often misunderstood his strength. Behind him sat Trevor Collins. Trevor was the kind of man who filled space without asking. White, mid-30s, expensive jacket, restless legs, irritated eyes. He had boarded the flight already annoyed at the delay, annoyed at the seat assignment, annoyed that the world never seemed to bend fast enough for him. From the moment he sat down, he stretched his legs aggressively, shifting, sighing, checking his watch every few seconds. Then it happened. Marcus felt a sudden pressure against his back. Not turbulence. Not movement. A shoe. A heavy shoe pressed firmly against the back of his seat. Marcus froze for a second, hoping it was accidental. He leaned forward slightly, expecting the foot to move away. It didn't. Instead, it pushed harder. Marcus turned his head slowly and looked back. Trevor's leg was stretched out casually, his foot planted on Marcus's seat like it belonged there. Trevor was scrolling on his phone, chewing gum, completely unbothered. Marcus took a breath. "Excuse me," he said calmly. "Would you mind moving your foot?" Trevor looked up slowly, eyes narrowing as if Marcus had interrupted something important. "It's just a seat," Trevor said. "Relax." Marcus nodded once. "I understand," he replied. "But it's my seat." Trevor laughed, a short, mocking laugh. "Man, you people are always so sensitive," he said, loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. A few heads turned. Some people looked uncomfortable. Others stared straight ahead, pretending not to notice. Marcus felt that familiar tightness in his chest, the one that came not from anger, but from being reduced to something smaller in public. Still, he stayed calm. "I'm just asking for basic respect," Marcus said quietly. Trevor rolled his eyes and put his foot down only to lift it again seconds later and shove it back onto the seat, harder this time. Marcus turned forward again, his jaw tightening slightly. Inside his mind, memories began to surface. Being 12 years old, sitting in a classroom where the teacher assumed he was struggling because of how he looked. Being 25, stopped by police for matching a description. Being 30, passed over for a promotion until a white colleague repeated his exact idea. Moments where he had swallowed his pride because he knew anger would only confirm the wrong assumptions. The pressure on his seat increased. Trevor leaned over to the woman beside him and whispered loudly, "Guess he thinks he owns the plane." A couple of quiet laughs followed. Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. He could feel every heartbeat in his chest. This wasn't just about a foot. It was about dignity. He turned again, this time fully. "Sir," Marcus said firmly but politely, "please remove your foot." Trevor smirked. "Or what?" he said. "You gonna cry to the flight attendant?" The cabin grew quiet. Everyone was listening now. Marcus held Trevor's gaze for a long second. Then something unexpected happened. Marcus smiled. Not a weak smile. A calm, confident one. He unbuckled his seatbelt and stood up. People shifted uncomfortably, expecting shouting, maybe even a fight. Instead, Marcus spoke softly, but his voice carried. "My name is Marcus Brown," he said. "I've spent my whole life learning when to speak and when to stay silent." He looked around the cabin. "Today, I choose to speak." Trevor laughed nervously. Bro, sit down. You're making this weird. Marcus ignored him. I grew up watching my father work twice as hard just to be seen as equal, Marcus continued. I watched my mother smile through disrespect because she believed kindness was stronger than cruelty. He reached into his bag and pulled out a folded photograph. This is my father, he said, holding it up. He taught me something I'll never forget: no one can step on you unless you lie down first. The plane was silent. Even the hum of the engine felt quieter. Marcus turned to Trevor. You put your foot on my seat, he said gently. But you don't get to put your foot on my humanity. Trevor's smirk disappeared. For the first time, he looked uncomfortable. Marcus took a breath. If legroom is an issue, he added, I'm happy to switch seats with you. Gasps spread across the cabin. The offer stunned everyone. This wasn't submission. This was power. Trevor stared at Marcus, his face slowly turning red. I didn't mean it like that, he muttered. Marcus nodded. Most people don't. Trevor swallowed hard and pulled his foot back completely. I'm sorry, he said, quieter now. Marcus smiled again. Thank you. A flight attendant approached cautiously. Is everything okay here? Yes, Marcus said kindly. Everything's fine. He sat back down. The rest of the flight felt different. People looked at Marcus with quiet respect. Some smiled at him as they passed. One elderly woman leaned over and whispered, "Thank you for reminding us how to be human." When the plane landed, passengers stood to leave. As Marcus reached the aisle, Trevor stood up. Hey, he said awkwardly. I've never been corrected without being attacked before. Marcus looked at him. Then maybe today helped both of us, he replied. Trevor nodded. It did. They shook hands. Two strangers. One lesson. And an entire plane that would never forget what dignity truly looked like.